Hi guys, Kathy with Restoration Acres. I wanted to do a quick video on a simple sourdough recipe. Since doing classes right now with COVID, and also my dog's a lunatic, trying to have you guys in my house is just not going to work. So I'm going to show you some of the things I have here. And I am doing kind of a large recipe for doing it'll probably make like, it's probably 6 boules, which is just a round loaf of bread. Or I might do like 8 decent sized baguettes. We'll see. I have all these soups right here going out to my free community meals. So anyway, so this right here is my sourdough starter. It's been fed. It's bubbly. It's happy, as you can see right here. It's ready to go. In here, I have, this is a 6-quart container. I got these at King Arthur online. You can get similar things. They usually have covers. Sometimes they don't. I use a clear shower cap. You can get them like 100 in a package. They work great just to keep the moisture in and let it rise. This in here has currently 9 cups of flour. So usually 3 cups of flour will do 1 large bread. This is going to do multiple smaller breads. And this has 8 cups of regular all-purpose flour, King Arthur unbleached. And then it has a cup of this right here. This is einkorn wheat, which I really like. It's an all-purpose flour. It is considered one of the older wheats that are not been processed. This is all organic. It gives the bread a really nice nutty flavor. I'm going to be putting, I really love these. These are super seeds. I like to say it with a lisp. Super seeds. I'm a dork. This is chia, flax, and hemp. They just give a little crunch. They look nice in the bread. I really like them. Just regular old sea salt. I've got olive oil, extra virgin. Honey. These are the flax. There's salt. So usually in one recipe, I'm going to move my phone over here. Excuse my poor videographing, blah, 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 and speaking skills. So typically for 1 large bowl, I'll do 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So in here, I have 3 teaspoons. I think I'm going to actually do another half. I just kind of eyeball it. The only thing I really measure is like my flour. And even that, I kind of do the scoop method. So you're going to want lukewarm water. And of course, you got to have your yeast. So usually what I'll do is I will add in things like whatever seeds or spices. So I'm going to throw that in. That was about a tablespoon. I don't really worry about how much is in there. The only thing that can really affect your, the activity of your, I have no words, of your yeast is your salt. Your salt can kind of kill the yeast before it gets going. So I try to add my salt, kind of mix it in, keep it away from the yeast as long as I can. So I'm going to throw it in there. I believe this is called a Dutch bread wand or something. I can't remember. Anyway, I do use it in the beginning. I don't use it once things get wet. Really tough. It all sticks. I don't like using it. I just like to get in there with my hands. So I just mix everything through. And then I'm going to add my honey. And I'm just going to, that's about 3 teaspoons of honey. I don't use a lot of sugar. It doesn't need a lot, and I prefer honey or maple syrup if I can. Just because it's better for you. It's more natural. Honey's delicious. I love honey. Okay, so I'm going to use this one, but don't worry about the fact you don't have anything fancy or spectacular. Just mix it through a little bit. Okay, and then, so this is a sourdough, but I'm not a gambler, okay? I don't gamble. I don't like to lose my money, my bread, nothing. So I always add a little bit of regular yeast. So I'm going to add about a teaspoon and a half for all this. Not a lot. And then I'm going to mix it through once again. And get the yeast just kind of move through there. And then I'm going to take and just kind of eyeball. You can put in as much starter as you want, really. Some people say to do a cup for every 3 cups of flour. I'm going to do about half of this, which is 2 cups. I'm hoping I get some nice sour. It smells so good. So good. So this is a combination of, this is a starter that I've had for about 4 years now. And it gets dried up. I'll feed it. The thing that's amazing is I didn't realize until last year or so that when it gets dried up and all crusty, that stuff can be used to start a whole new starter, or you just add water and you just feed it back. It's amazing. So what I'll do is I'll feed this, let it sit out, and then tomorrow it'll go back in the fridge and it'll get fed once a week. But honestly, I've had times where I forget to feed it and it comes back for me. So I'm going to mix through just roughly the starter. Just enough. As you can see when I'm talking about these things, everything just gets stuck on it. It's annoying. So yeah, this starter was a combination of all-purpose flour and einkorn wheat. I ordered the einkorn wheat on Amazon. And here's some water. There's about 4 cups here. Lukewarm. I'm going to do about 1.5 cups. And then I just kind of get in there, go around the outside, try to move some of that dry stuff in. Bread baking doesn't have to be scary or difficult. It's really a lot to do with feel. I mean, yes, you have recipes, but you're going to have days where your flour needs more water. It's very dry, like right now, it's winter. I've been boiling water on the stove constantly, and I still feel super, super dry. So I'm just going to keep adding to this. And keep just turning it. And when it starts to get really hard to mix, because this is 9 cups of flour plus some starter, so I'm going to put some more. All right, and then I'm going to get in there with my hand, and I pull away from the sides, push down in the middle, and just keep doing that. You got to be willing to make sure your hands are clean, by the way. Obviously, right? Alright, add some water. Feels pretty dry. The einkorn wheat definitely is drier. It's hard to imagine a flour more dry than the other, but it seems to absorb more because it's more of a whole grain, less less is done to it. It's considered an ancient grain. Just got to kind of pull it away from your fingers and then get back in there. Just keep pulling away, pushing down the center. Pulling away, pressing the center. This is how you work your muscles. It's probably why my shoulder, one of the many reasons my shoulder never feels good. I do use I have a really beautiful Ankasarum, but honestly, if I'm just doing, one bucket full of flour, if I was doing more than 9 cups, I would definitely use my mixer. Gotta really get under there and just flip it over. And I think I'm gonna end up using all of that 4 cups. I like the dough to be wet. Wet, sticky, a little bit sticky, but not so much. You can't work with it at all. Not like soppy, like mucky. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm almost there. And so the biggest thing now, once we mix everything through and we can't feel any more dry bits, and you might still have some in there. When you work the dough, you'll definitely find it after the fact, because you're going to let this rest for 30 minutes, and so the gluten can start forming, and then you're going to actually work the dough. Okay, so this is what we've got right now. Gluten's starting to dry. You can see these little strands, but it has some time to go. So I am going to stop right there. I'm going to go wash my hands. Very exciting. I should have a music interlude while I wash my hands. Alright. And then what I like to do, I like to take some olive oil, and I do two good glugs over it. And then I'm going to get back in there, get my hands dirty again, and I'm going to just flip it and get the whole outside. I like to get the whole thing with some olive oil, no more dry stuff, okay? And so that's what you get. You get this nice glistening big ball of dough, okay? And so then we're going to let it rest. Okay, and then we'll be back. Okay, we're gonna do our next step. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes. Usually I go longer than that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our first, we're gonna take it out. We're gonna use wet hands, and we're gonna do our first folds. So basically you do like 3 folds, and I'll show you how to do that. This is probably the best thing you can buy yourself. I really like my metal one. I have a metal bench knife. This is just a plastic one. Works great. Works for separating bread. Works for pulling it off your counter. It's the greatest. These are super, super cheap, these plastic ones. So we are going to wet my counter. I cleaned it before. And we're going to just plop that baby right out there. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of stretch and movement. Gluten's trying to form. I'm going to wet our hands. I have a bowl of cool water. Nothing, no big deal. You're going to take and you're going to slap one end down. Fold it over. Okay. Turn it. Pull up. Press it down in the center, turn. You're going to pull this up. You're going to go over, okay? And then what I do is I pull the whole thing over on top of itself. So I'm kind of forming a ball, okay? And I kind of pull the edges of the ball in. So it's kind of making like a big giant round. If the flour's sticking, just wet your hands. You're just trying to tighten it up, okay? You're trying to start to create surface tension. It's by no means ready to bake yet, but you'll know when you press and it bounces back. Right now, it's just very much in the first stages. And then you're going to take this like this. You set it back in your bowl. It's always good to have it oiled. These things are these things are great. I get like, I think 100 or maybe even more in a bag. They're just clear shower caps. And then I cover it and that's it. And then you just want to clean up your space because you're going to use it again. And we're going to do this again in about another 20-30 minutes, okay? You're going to do this about 3 or 4 times until you see some really good surface tension. You're going to know it. It's going to give a nice bounce back. You're going to feel that tension. You're going to feel the bread coming together. And then you can start separating them and then forming them. So I'll show you how to do that. All right, we'll be back. Okay, here we go again. Same thing. Bowl of water. A little bit on the countertop just so it doesn't stick. Take your bread. Dough. Plop it. You can already see some spring back. When you push your finger in, you'll see it just kind of start to come back. And that shows that the gluten is forming. So you're going to wet your hands. And I really give it a good smack. Think about people that annoy you. Okay. And then you stretch and pull. Stretch and fold, stretch and pull. And then you're going to grab it and fold it over like we did before. Wet your hands. And then we're going to start to do our surface tension. So I'm going to push in on one side and push in with the other. And just keep turning it. Wet your hands. And what that does is it does exactly that. It increases the tension over the top. And it starts to really build that gluten. Plop it back in there. Cover her back up. And then the next time, we're probably not going to wet our hands. We're probably going to do, actually no, we have one more stretch and folds. Typically you do 3. And then after the third, that's when we will start to separate them, figure out what shapes we want, and then get them ready to put them on. I have 2 pans. I'll show you over here. So I have 2 pans right in here that have their cookie sheets. I have parchment paper on it because what I do is I put them on here. I form them, put them on here, and then I get my stove really hot, like typically about 500, and I will put a cup of water in there, steaming hot water. And that will steam the bread, gives it that nice crust. But that way when I slide it onto the stone, I have stones in there, it'll slide right off. Okay? So I have those ready to go. It's definitely always good to have everything ready. I'll show you. This is my lovely wall oven. It's dirty, so my apologies. So these are my very seasoned stones in here. They're just 2 rectangular stones. They don't fit, as you can see, perfectly side to side. No big deal. And then I have an old loaf pan in there. God, words. And then that's what I do is I will pour hot water in there. And usually just a cup. Maybe even a little less than a cup. You don't want to oversteam. You don't want to oversteam your bread. It'll create, too thick of a crust. But it really, it gives you that, like, stone, the people that bake in these big stone ovens, it gives you kind of that same sort of really nice, beautiful golden crust. So we'll be back for the last stretch and fold. And then after that, we'll do, we'll get everything separated out. I don't use a scale. If I was doing this professionally, I probably would have to, because it's hard to eyeball it, but I just eyeball it. And you'll end up with one, you can use a scale if you want to, just so that all your pieces are exactly the same. I just don't. All right, we'll be back. Hey guys. All right, we're back. All right, last stretch and fold. Hopefully. All right, we'll do wet hands, wet countertop. One more time. All right. Everything is starting to spring back when you put your finger in. Excuse me. You're starting to get some spring. Okay. Now we're going to do another stretch. Slap. I call them slap and folds. I slap it down. Pull it up. Pull it over. Okay. Okay. And so now I want to see how my gluten is forming. So not quite at the window pane stage. Close. So window pane stage means you can pull this up. You'll hear this said a lot with bread bakers. And that means you can pull it and it won't rip like it's doing right now. It's close though. Real close. Anyway. I don't get totally worried about that. So this type of bread that I'm doing here is more of an artisan bread, which means, all that means is, I don't even know what that means. I think it's more like hand done, or it's done to look more rough, crusty, the whole deal. It's not like this perfectly formed loaf of bread. It's a word. So anyway, we're gonna put this here, last one with the water, put it in there. We're gonna cover it, and so then I'm gonna let it sit between 30 minutes and an hour. And then we'll come back and we're gonna split it up, and we're going to start forming actual forms. And we'll use a little bit of flour. And probably what I'm going to do is just do like mini Batards, which basically is just like a rectangle shaped bread. It's not round. It's not a long baguette. It's like a small baguette that has a little bit of height in the middle. I don't get overly concerned how perfect my shapes are. People don't care. They just like fresh bread. I mean, let's be honest. But I have, so here at my farm stand, I give away, I make a bunch of soup. I always, whenever I make stews, I always make a ton. And so since COVID started, I really wanted to help out, because I know I struggle at times, and I've struggled really bad in my past financially. So when I make a big soup, I thought, why not give some away? And because I don't have a food license, I can't sell it, right? If people want to do a donation, they can do a donation, but why not help your neighbors? I mean, you're already making meals, right? So this is a corn chowder that I made. They're cooling down. I have corn chowder. I have ham and bean soup. And I think I have some turkey soup as well going out. So I'd like to make sure that each container, each 4-cup container has a small bread. So that you can rip it off, have it with your soup. I mean, fresh bread and soup it's the bomb, right? And especially when it's cold out. So, all right, we'll be back. Hi, guys. Okay. I was just eating my dinner and I had a carrot stick try to kill me. So if I start coughing, that's why. Stupid vegetable. All right. We got some nice, good rye here. So I've got it just slightly floured. Lightly floured, sorry. I'm going to just pop this out of the container onto floured surface. And I usually will do a little bit of dusting over the top. Oh, my goodness. I can't stop clearing my throat. All right. So now what I'm going to do is take this lovely little thing. If you don't have this, use a pizza cutter. You don't have to buy special things. Pizza cutters work good too. So I'm going to cut this in half. Now I'm going to put the recipe for 1 bread loaf, like a standard recipe, on the comments here. Then you guys can add to it whatever you want to do. Vegetables are dangerous. All right, we're going to cut this in half. Or kind of half, like I said. I don't use my scale. Probably should. So one of the things I try not to do is I try not to deflate the air out of these, because I really want them to be nice and get the holes in there and the whole deal. All right, so then I'm going to cut it in half again. Okay, and because this is 9, I'm going to be putting out, I think, probably 6 soups. So I'm going to go half again. Half again. Some will be a little bigger than others because I don't use my scale. One of the things when you're cutting, the center will always be more than the outside because that's like the fatter place. So you can always kind of cut a little differently because of that. So I have 2, 4, 6, I have 8 pieces here. So Mother Teresa. All right, so I'm going to move some of these out of the way. Okay, and I'm going to bring you closer so you can actually see how I'm going to form. So I'm going to do these, kind of make a small baguette. Okay, so a little more flour here. Okay, and so here's what I'm going to do. There'll be an area where you cut that'll be kind of open a little bit. I kind of work from that. I'm going to pull a little bit. I don't want to deflate this, remember. All right, there you go. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to pull up on one side. Excuse me, my goodness. That dang carrot almost killed me. All right, and I'm going to pick up one side here on the long side. I'm going to bring it to the center, okay? And I'm going to press that down, kind of making a crease. Okay? Can you see that? I hope so. And then I'm going to do that to the other side. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to kind of lift up and pull so that I'm getting equal amounts of the side. I'm going to bring it to the center, press down, okay? So now this is what it looks like, okay? And now I'm going to kind of roll it. I'm not going to smush it down on it, but I'm going to kind of roll one side into the other. So it kind of makes like a sandwich kind of look. And then I'm just going to gently roll that together. I'm not going to have it go super long, okay, because not a lot of bread here, not a lot of dough here. But it kind of creates, and you can kind of pinch it, okay. So you're going to get like this right here, okay? So it's lightly floured. I'm going to go put it on my pan over here. All right, next one. All right, same thing. So you see how this is where we cut. So it kind of is just naturally ready to make this form. So I'm going to lift up, bring to the center, push down a little bit, not too hard. See, that's what it's going to look like. And I'm going to turn it. I'm going to lift up on this side. And I'm going to press down in the center just gently. I'm not going to go too hard. And then I'm going to roll over. And this one's, you can tell this is the center one. It's a little fatter. Okay. Okay, another one. I had a customer want dill, so I'm going to do one of these, add some dill to it. All right, same thing. I'm going to pull out a little bit just to elongate it just a little bit. I'm going to try to pull my side up and then do that. Okay. Same thing. It's going to be a little chubbier in the center. If you don't want it to be, you can always do a different shape. I'll show you. We'll do these three. Excuse me. Okay, do those three like a chunky baguette kind of thing. This is a bigger one. My parents are calling me. We'll ignore them for now. Alright, we'll do this one as a boule, okay? Same sort of thing. You have this area that kind of opens naturally because it's where you cut it. All I'm going to do for this is I'm going to bring this to the middle, bring this other side to the middle, and then I'm going to roll this into a ball, okay? And then you're going to have this underneath. You can pinch it closed, okay? And then, like we were doing before, you can scoop underneath, press and turn, and it creates this little ball. It's still not perfect underneath, but it's going to rise. So we're going to put this on the pan. Because these are small, you can fit more. We'll do another boule shape. Okay. Alright, so we're going to lift up, bring that in the center. Lift up, bring that in the center. I'm not pressing as hard as I was with the baguette or the batard. And then I'm going to kind of roll this into a ball again. Okay. Same sort of thing. Push down towards you. Push down towards you. And it kind of creates that tension on the surface. And if you push down on the dough now, you get a nice bounce back. Alright, that's going on the pan. Death by carrot, I swear. Alright, so here's what this looks like. So we have 3 small batards, 2 boules. We're going to let these rise. I actually am going to put them in my empty oven that is not hot at all. Let them rise in that environment. I'll let the other ones rise out here just because I'm out of space and my other oven is on. It's currently ready to go, 500. I have 2 ovens. One currently is not working, which I need to get that taken care of. Alright, and so we're going to do 2 baguettes on. So we have 2 here, so I'm going to show you how to do the baguette. You're going to, same thing, where it's naturally cut. Just lift up, give it a little bit of a pull, just gentle. You're going to lift up one side like we did before, press down the center, create your crease. Same thing over here. Lift up, don't push down too much, you don't want to take out your air. You can like those nice, air bubbles that create that really beautiful crumb. Alright, and then we're going to just roll this over, right? And then we're going to do this. We're going to kind of like when you're a kid and you're playing with, more flour. Kid and you're playing with, I swear to God, I cannot say words today. Play-Doh. Good Lord. All right, and so you're going to kind of roll this out into a long, some people taper the ends. We'll just taper the ends a little. All right, and so there you go. Got a baguette. We're going to put it on our pan, our other pan, because that other one is full. And we'll do a Batard with this one. So that's kind of what we were doing before. I'm going to lift up in the center, press down, lift up in the center, press down, and I kind of push them in, make it a little bit squat, a little not as long. I'm going to roll it over, right? But it's just going to be shorter. Okay. And then this is the one we're going to do dill. So let me get my dill for my customer. Normally, when I do breads for people, I will mix it separately if it's going to have herbs. But because I have a bunch of small ones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this dill weed. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit in here. I do this last because I don't want this getting into the rest of the breads. So it's not going to have a heavy dill, okay? But it'll be enough that they'll get it. It's going with their corn chowder. So I'm going to lift up, press down a little bit, lift up, press down a little bit, and then turn it, okay? And then we're going to roll it over. And then we're going to start to build that tension. So you're going to kind of press, slide. You'll get the feeling of it. You'll see it tighten up on top. You'll get that nice tension on top. And you can kind of roll it into your flour a little bit. We're going to try to score these, which is just a way of helping the bread, the steam expand, and yeah, so let me move this over here. So this is great for, scraping down your counter. I mean, honestly, these things, for how cheap they are, might be the best tool ever. You can use it when you have stuff that's like stuck on. So yeah, so we're gonna just set these here, okay? And I don't have a towel, but I'm gonna use just a damp paper towel. And I'll put this over the top. I'm going to get some, I don't have, oh, here we go. So we'll do plastic. I do a plastic bag. Sometimes I'll do this. Alright, and then I'll do my paper towel ripped. A little bit of a damp towel over the top. Always helps kind of the rise. You don't have to have it, but it does help. So yeah, that's it for now. I will come back when it is time. Clean this afterwards. We'll come back when it's time to bake. I'll show you how to get the oven nice and steamy. Right now it's at 500. It's hot, ready to go. It's already preheated for the stone. It's already preheated. And what I'll do is right before these go in, I can only do one pan at a time. I'll take like a cup of hot water. I have a hot pot right here. I'll get it boiling before I put it in. And then I'll just pour it into that pan so it steams my oven and creates like an awesome environment for the bread. So we'll be back. Okay guys, we are, I think, ready to roll. So I've got my pot of hot water heating up. It's boiling, so I can use it for steam. These breads are ready. As you can see, they're coming right back up. Everybody has risen. We're good. We're going to leave this one to sit for right now. So I'm going to try to score a little bit. Hang on, I need a better, I'm going to use the soup to prop this up. I need to get like an actual video camera set up. Okay, so this is a serrated knife. I can't find my lame. I have a lame, which is basically just a razor blade. I'm gonna score these. Basically, the serrated works the best. You're just basically helping it rise a little bit more. So these are Batard sizes. So you kind of go a little bit in and you come down a little bit of an angle in, because what you want is you want it to open up. So I'll show you. See how that looks. Okay. So we're going to do these other ones too. The boule, I'm just going to do across at an angle, not all the way to the other side. And I usually go in a second time. Same with this one. Okay. Alright, and then these two are also like a Batard. I'll just do those also, same way. Okay. And now we're going to get this ready. Hang on, let me grab my little waka waka. It's very, very hot. Hot stuff, hot stuff. I usually pull it out a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is set you guys down. You can sort of see what I'm doing. I have a towel that I'm going to use on the face of my glass here, just so I don't splash up. I'm just going to give it a little bit. Kick it in there. Okay. And now I'm going to take these right here, and I'm just going to set it on the side and give it a little push. Kind of works like a lame, which they use in the big pizza ovens. I do have a lame, but this seems to work better for me. So now we have a nice steamy hot oven. Sorry for the turning and the spinning. We have it set it at 500. I'm going to do this for 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, I will come back and I'll bump down the heat. Typically, I'll bump it down. These are smaller loaves. I'll bump it down to probably 475 is fine. That's usually what I do, or 480 for the bigger loaves. But so I'll do 15 minutes on really high heat. Then I'll bump it down to 475, and I'll probably do these. Usually I go 40, 45 minutes for the big loaves. I will probably do these. We'll do 30 minutes, see how they look. 25, maybe 25 total. See how they look, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, I wish you guys could smell the house right now. The heat, the bread, just, oh my God. I'm going to show you how it looks after 15 minutes at 500. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we're going to drop this down to 475. All right. And you can sort of kind of see, sort of not. But I'm going to drop this down and I'm going to do another 15 minutes, which will be 30 total. And then we'll pull them and see how they do. These are ready to go. Yep, good to go. We'll score them right before they go in. But I will probably end this video after these come out. I'm going to put... Hopefully I can figure out how to put these videos all together. If not, I'll do them in different stages. I'll put the recipe on the first one if I'm not able to put them together. And if you ever have any questions, you can email me at Kathy Sorrell, SORELL, at msn.com. I was a total beginner when I started doing this, and I've taught myself a lot. I've watched a lot of videos. But basically, it's not difficult. It's just more time and just learn as you go. But it's not impossible to make your own bread and really make some beautiful bread. So, all right. Okay, so these just came out of a 475 degree oven and they're perfect. You get that nice hollow sound, which means it's done. The smell is just always amazing. As you can see, the scoring works nicely because you get more rise. I mean, look at how big they are. Like, they just poofed right up. So yeah, we've got the rest in. This will make some really nice accompaniment breads to go with the soup. So happy baking.